P equal 108 minus 23D. And when you see this one, the letter D, it's doesn't have any exponent. It's a linear equation. Okay, so the linear equation is basically have a straight line. So all the linear equations you see, there's no exponent here. So that means it's a straight line. That's one thing. We always kind of like think, okay, what type of equation is this? Quadratic or, you know? So we're gonna look at that, okay? Okay, so if you look at this question right here, and it says P equal 108 minus 23rd G. If you look at this equation, since I said it is a straight line equation, and if you remember the straight line equation, y equal, I'm going to use that little bit of notes to teach you about this equations. Y equal mx plus b. Do you see this equation before? Y equals mx plus b? Yeah. So what does this m means?
The slope.
Excellent. So it's a slope, or we can write a rate of change. And then the last one is a y-intercept, or you can call as a startup fee or startup. So out of these two, the slope is the rate of change. What does that mean is it's going to change every time whatever you buy. So when I look at this question, what's the meaning of the value of 108 in this equation? So if you compare these two, what do you think? Is 108 represents the b or the slope? What do you think?
The y-intercept.
Excellent. So the y-intercept means it's the start of b. So Kathy will complete the repairs within 180 days, or Kathy will start each week with 108 phones to fix. Kathy repair the phone at the rate, whenever the rate, that means slope. Okay? So, but we're not looking at the slope. So that means you're not gonna, your answer is not either C or D. Okay? So your answer is not this, not this. So one of these two. So according to this one, and she owns a repair company, so obviously she starts each week with 108 phones. Okay, so that's the startup. I see that I wrote a startup here. So the startup will tell you where you're starting with those questions. Okay, so that's the startup fee. So obviously your answer is B. Okay, do you understand that? Anytime, if they're asking for the slope, your answer should be is rate of change. Okay, so it's always be looking at, if they're asking you like what is the 23rd means, so then it's obviously your answer should be rate of change because it represents the slope. Let's move on to the next page. Okay, now look at this question. So we have the equation is given, so you can highlight some important important stuff, and also you can just see what we can do with this one. Since it is a, okay, there you go, per pound cost, B and C represents per pound cost. Okay. Very good. So the reason behind you equate both equations, and obviously they're looking at the X week after the July 1st. Okay, so we're looking at the same day, which is the their equal rate. So we're going to find out the X value first, which is you already set up that equation, pretty good to go. So, and then we're looking at these B and C per pound. The first one is B is beef, and then C is the chicken. B is the beef and C is the chicken. Now, but at the end, we are looking at the cost of chicken. So once we get the X value, and obviously we're going to plug in our answer into the chicken equation, and then we can get the X value, or the cost of the chicken per pound.
That's what I got wrong.
Okay.
found X, and I just was like, oh, where is X?
That's right, yeah. Okay. So that looks good. So basically, since you're looking for the C, since you see this 0.4 is a bigger number, so as you did it, that's right. So you did take away 1.75 on the both sides. You're taking away $1.75 from $2.35. Obviously, you end up with the 60 cents. So that's what you got here. So we got the 60 cents, and then here, and you subtract the 0.25 from the 0.4. So I'm going to write it down so it's just a little clearer. But you did it, everything is correct. So nothing wrong with that. Equal 2.35 plus 0.25x. So you subtract 1.75 here, 1.75 here, and you cross that out. And I'm going to change color so you can see better. Take away 0.25x, take away 0.25x, so you can cross that out. So obviously you get, this is going to be 0.5 or 15x equal 60 cents. So x is 4. Now we'll take this x and we plug back into this, and then you will get the answer out of it. Now look at this question. It's always they have the restrictions on the domain. If x is greater than 3. Most of the times you don't see any use of the domain unless, like, at the end of the answer we always check back what is the domain restrictions. So in this one, domain restriction is right here. So that's what we're looking basically. Okay. When you're solving this, so basically you're combining the rational functions. So when you combine rational functions, so you need to have a common denominator. Okay. To get the common denominator, so we can take 1 over and 1 over x plus 2. I'm going to show you the whole method, and then I'm going to teach you how to do this question faster. Okay? So we're going to go over the full explanation first, and then I'll teach you how to do this question that's faster way. Now, when I look at this question, I see x plus 2 at the bottom and x plus 3 at the bottom, and obviously these are not same. So what I need to do is I need to get a common denominator for the both. So in order to get that, I am going to multiply x plus 3 here on top and bottom. And this one with the x plus 2. So when I did that one, I do have a common denominator at this time.
Okay.
So once I have this common denominator, so I'm going to keep the common denominator and then combine the numerators. So I do that and get this one, x plus 2, x plus 3. On the numerator, I'm going to combine them, x plus 3 plus x plus 2. So when I combine these, I'm going to just show the math up here. So I combine the like terms. X plus x is 2x plus 5. Okay, 2x plus 5 over x plus 2 times x plus 3. I mean, obviously, when I distribute these two, when I distribute these factors, and then see what I can get there. So I'm going to multiply these two here. I'm going to change the color so you can see, follow that up there. So x times x, x squared. And then I'm going to write it down, x times 3, 3x, plus 2x, plus 6. So combine those. Plus 6. Okay? So instead of the factoring those two, I can write it down that. So my answer out of this is going to look like 2x plus 5 over x squared plus 5x plus 6. But I should not forget about this one on top. Okay? But when you have a fraction over fraction, you always flip the fraction.
Yeah.
So if you flip the fraction, you're going to get x squared plus 5x plus 6 over 2x plus 5 as your final answer. Okay? So, which is basically, it represents this. Okay? So this is the entire process of this math question. Okay? But if this takes pretty much more than a minute, because since I know I did this one for a long time and I do it every time, so I know what to do faster way. But again, students, it takes a long time. But what's the best way to do this question? Okay? So when you have the question given to you in the SAT, you're going to first step is first, don't write it down the question like this, how I did it. Okay? Because this I did it to explain it to you. But when you do on the test, you're not going to do the entire thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to multiply this one here, x plus 3, and this one, x plus 2, okay? And then we can move on with I'm going to multiply this x plus 2, and obviously I'm going to get whatever they give you here, x squared plus 5x plus 6. And then here is going to be, combine those two here, that's 2x plus 5, and flip it over.
Okay.
So that way you get a one-step answer without a lot of work out there. Does that make sense?
Yes. 0 x equals 24.
Right. So yeah. Yes, right. I mean, basically, when you look at this equation point of view, it makes sense to me. But again, it's not the exponents what we have here. Okay. So what we can do these kind of questions. I mean, this is one of the easiest one, but again, confusing questions. Always I see in SAT's test. So, but we follow a simple procedure. I want you to look at it. Okay. So these 8 right here, I can write a 2 to the third exponent. Do you agree with that? Yeah?
How?
Okay, so the 2 to the third exponent,
okay.
which is, yeah, that's fine. 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8.
Yeah.
Okay, are we good on this?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to multiply these two. Since exponent to exponent, that is one of the rules of the exponents. And we can go over the concept later, but I just kind of right today I'm going to get some idea like what topics that we need to cover more, so that way we can get to that idea too. So I multiply the exponent, I can get 3x. Okay. So now again, one of the other rules in exponents says when you have a same base in the division, you have to subtract the exponents. Okay? So I'm going to use that rule. This is what I'm going to end up with. But if I look at the question back, it says 3x minus y is 12. So what does that mean? Instead of the 3x minus y, I can replace it y, it's 12. So 2 to the 12, which gives this.